Though,
See,
okay, it does have like top 10 funny, one of my funniest moments in the MCU. Do you know
oh,
what
when he
part
go,
that is?
is it when he goes another? Hits the cup of the
Yes,
grab.
yes, I love that. Another one.
I remember because we watched some together. I'm pretty sure we watched Thor one together.
Uh-huh.
And I remember when he did that scene, you start busting out laughing.
Yeah, that's like top 10 favorite funniest moments from that movie. Or from any Marvel movie. That shit had me dead.
See, my thing with the Thor movies is I feel like they go up and down and stuff because the thing a lot of people don't realize about the Thor movies is that like it's weird. They're a coherent story, but their story of like they're the same story. It's just
The
they're very
quality is all over the place.
yeah, because the same story is Thor's trying to figure out who he is in each movie.
Mm-hmm.
In each movie, he ends and he thinks he knows, and then the next movie comes and he's right back to, is that really who I am?
I
It,
don't know, man. I thought I found myself, but I really didn't. Let me find
yeah,
myself again.
because that Thor is a little higher for me, but it's for me the Thor movies are like that Thor movie. It's just the villain was kind of forget like it was like with Loki Loki was like kind of the villain, but it was really that destroyer thing. And he took that thing out pretty fast, so it was like.
You know
But
what?
I liked him on Earth as a human.
Now, you know what? I'll say this. For all the people that don't like that, I don't like Loki. He wasn't annoying yet for me in that movie. He didn't really become annoying to me until the first Avengers movie.
So my 33 is Captain Marvel. Now this will confirm if the Haley Steinfeld thing is true because I know you're a big fan of Brie Larson. So depending on how high you have
Well,
Captain Marvel, that's
she
going.
kind of went down after Iman Vellani came in, so
Oh my gosh! But all I'm saying is we're going to see where you put Captain Marvel, depending.
I mean, but
But
no, before I even grew a crush on Brie Larson, you knew I actually liked that movie, and I explained to you why I did.
yeah, see, the reason I have it because now we're getting into tier lists, whereas it the movies don't have a problem. Like the movies and shows aren't like bad. They're just they have certain problems that like is why they got lower for me. And Captain Marvel was one of those where it's like I liked it. It just wasn't anything. Like for me, this is like the next few are going to be there was nothing really special about the movies.
Like, okay, I'll give people this. I do like Captain
Mm,
Marvel a lot, but I am also, an honest person. So I will admit, like, her character wasn't the strongest in the movie. I feel like over time her character will become better. But then I also think, I mean, she did kind of lose her memory for most of the movie.
yeah, it was
So
just
it's like I can understand why people has its gripes with it, but I just personally enjoy it partly because it didn't feel connected to everything else. Like I could actually
yeah.
enjoy this movie.
Well, the thing for me about the movie is it came out literally like 2 or 3 months before Endgame.
Hmm.
So it felt like a by the books Marvel movie. Like it didn't feel like any like you'll see in the top 10, like top 15 movies that I have, each of those movies feels special. But these down here feel are more by the books. Like the only two movies I will say that were like truly bad were Hulk and Thor Dark World. Or at least up
Damn,
until Hawkeye. Hawkeye
damn.
was also kind of bad.
You said Hulk was bad. Oh, what?
Yeah,
Actually, why am I surprised? That was the lowest
it,
on your list.
but now we're in the tier where it just feels like it's a by the books Marvel movie, and Captain Marvel is the definition of by the books. Like it felt like, yep, you have the beginning setup, you have little quips in the middle as they do their little journey, then you have her fight the guy who betrayed her in the end, and then you have her fly off and be like, "I'm the hero. I'm going to go do what's good," and you
And
know,
you know what? There's two things I will say about this movie. One, There is one corny behind scene. It felt like a biopic scene. Like, you know, when you watch a biopic and like iconic album, like I'll use the Tupac movie as an example. Like when he was recording All Eyes on Me and they didn't know what to name it. And in the movie, he's like, man, I feel like everyone's watching me. All eyes on me. And Suge is like, I like that. Captain Marvel had a moment just like that,
Man.
where Nick Fury, when he was coming up with the Avenger Initiative, he didn't know what to call it, and then he saw the picture of her plane, and it said like Avenger on it, and he's like, like he changed the word hero to
Oh
Avenger
man,
Initiative. I'm
I
like,
forgot
that was
which
so damn corny.
I forgot what show or what it was, but it was like a spoof on that where it was Family Guy, where he was trying Peter was like sitting there trying to think of a different think of a name or something,
Mhm.
like a code name, because he didn't want to give his real name. And it was like making fun of how he's looking around the room trying to figure out a name. And he saw something, he was like, Pete. And then he was like, Tur Griffin, Peter Griffin. You know?
Yeah, I love that part. I remember it too. Peter Griffin. His mother's his own damn name.
It was like that's how I be feeling with because you remember Mason when you had to make a password for your picture account?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did to make my password because every time I put in password, it was like too short, not long enough. Need some more characters, just not strong enough. Not strong enough. And I went, and I would just start looking around. And I was like, oh, and I started looking. And I was like, okay, that day, this, you know,
No, yo, you just reminded me. Remember when we would have to do the housing thing and we had to have like a save password for our housing
yeah.
account
Oh,
and we copied and pasted the whole intro to Avatar and we made that the password.
I was really, I was thinking, I was like, darn, I really hope they never ask. Someone asked us. So, like,
So what's your
I was
password?
hoping,
So what's
yeah,
your password? Earth, water. They're gonna think you're on drugs. Just name it
yeah.
different.
Because I was hoping no one would ever have to call us and be like, so please tell us your password for your house. And I have to be like, fine. Long ago,
Before Nation movie.
the Harmony. Tell it.
They'll be sitting on the call like, huh?
Be like earth, air, fire, water. Long ago, the four nations used to live in harmony till the Avatar.
At the end, they're like, I know these people did not make their password the Avatar intro. Spaces. No, but
Yeah,
the website you copied it from had commas, periods,
yeah.
like everything. You had to get the punctuation just right to get into our thing.
And you know, if they ask, I would mess with them by stopping, at one part where it's like pause, and I'd be like, Aang has a lot to learn before he can save the world, but I believe Aang can save the world. And then I would end with the doom, like with the music playing.
Should I type the sound in too? No, no, you don't need the sound.
Because that's what we were wondering. Like, should we put like dum dum, dum dum?
Yo, we were being so extra with that, but I forget why we even did that.
Because at the time, we were obsessed with talking about Avatar.
Oh yeah, because they were talking about the live action versions, and we just kept
Yes.
talking about that.
But, darn, we getting off topic.
All right. 32.
Okay.
My 30-second pick. And okay, I will say out of every Marvel movie, where the other ones I said, they were boring, like they were forgettable. This might have actually been the only Marvel movie to really make me mad from how much I didn't like it, and that's Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Really?
I thought I told you that movie made me feel like I wasted 2 hours of my life.
See, I
which is
like Ant-Man and the
it's crazy
Wasp.
to me because I like the first Ant-Man a lot, but Ant-Man and the Wasp was
Wow.
so ass to me.
See, I thought it was pretty good because I like the I feel like Ant-Man because I feel like some Marvel movies teeter between funny and it's just quippy. This wasn't quippy. I like the Ant-Man humor, and Ant-Man is like in the comics and stuff. That was one of my favorite heroes. I was so mad when they made Hank Pym an old man, but I really still like the Ant-Man humor and stuff. So I thought it was pretty good.
Like I don't know. The movie like I like and see now you're probably wondering if this was the movie that made me mad. You're probably wondering why it's so higher up on the list than these other movies that I think are boring. But that's because I rank things higher when I actually have something to feel about it. Like if I watched
Oh,
it and I don't have anything to feel, then I'm like, all right, then it got to be worse because I don't feel anything. At least I'll give Ant-Man and the Wasp that. It made me feel something because the other movies, for the most part, I was just watching and I'm like, there's some enjoyable moments.
I feel that. My pick was Loki because I
Oh,
thought it was
so you would admit that it's low on the list. You admit it's
yeah.
ass.
No, this is that part where it's the by the books moment.
All
This
right.
this felt like by the books because it was trying to attain something higher, but then it just ended up being like okay, like it had some slow episodes, but then it had some good episodes. Most people don't like the Lokis like fell in love with each other or whatever. I thought that I thought that was interesting. So
Hey,
I
nobody can love you better than yourself. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Self
So
love.
my next
um.
pick was
Uh.
Moon Knight.
Oh dang, my phone was still messing up. Okay. Okay. So this is where my phone finally starts being really good.
Okay,
Okay.
but
Actually,
yeah.
why are we relying on the numbers on my phone when your board actually has the correct numbers? But
Well, see, I didn't put numbers.
oh, okay. Well, 30. Wait, did you already say Moon Knight for yours?
Yeah, yeah. Moon Knight's mine.
Well,
'Cause
I already said my thoughts on it. That show made me go to
it,
sleep.
well, see, I said my thoughts on it too because I pretty much like the build up for it. I just thought the last two episodes were what kind of like I feel like if the last two episodes were better and explained things better, it would have made the whole show better. But
Mm.
that's why it's where it is for me.
So for mine, number 30, now this is the correct, numbers and everything. It doesn't mess up from what I see. 30 is the Incredible Hulk. And I just have it this high, partly because biasness for the Hulk. I
Yeah.
love the Hulk. He's probably my favorite hero, before I became an MCU fan. Him and Spider-Man, I always went back and forth with being my favorite hero. But I think the main thing that I liked about it is that it actually tries something new, and for the most part, it kind of worked for me. And when I say try something new, like how I said, like I like that it was kind of taking itself more serious. And I want to see that Edward Norton version. And this might be an unpopular opinion. I kind of like Edward Norton's Hulk better than
Wow.
because like I said, I'm used to seeing Hulk be goofy because of that original movie, and I'm not really into like the old cartoons or anything like that. So I like seeing Edward Norton's take, and honestly, I kind of feel like he's a better actor anyway.
Well, see, I I have a problem with Hulk in the MCU because I wanted like Hulk to be like he's like a nuclear weapon. Nothing should
Mhm.
be able to beat Hulk. And I felt like Hulk should be like where it's like you're not sure if he'll actually help you during the fight. And it's like he's your last resort. That's what I want.
Sadly, sadly, we know why he can't do more. Though I've been hearing rumors about a World War Hulk movie or series coming soon. So I hope they can do more with him now.
Yeah, but I just want him to be more because they didn't know how to handle Hulk and they didn't want him to be like too powerful. But I think he should be just because the Hulk should be like something temperamental where it's like you can only use him sometimes. Because the first Avengers movie, that's why I like Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, because I thought the first Avengers movie he did perfect, where he was like scared of himself. Like even though he could control it, he was still scared and was like, he knows he's a ticking time bomb. Like I once heard someone say their favorite line of the like about the Hulk is that he's the one person that he runs away from the fight because he knows he will win.
I'll give you this, because why I said I like Edward Norton's version is because now that I think about it, now that you brought that up, he was good in the first Avengers, but it seemed like with each movie, like you said, they didn't know really what to do with him.
Yeah.
So they kind of made him more goofier and more weak, to the point where, like, actually on Twitter, literally today, I seen people say, oh, the big three, and they kept showing Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, and people in the comments was arguing like, why did you leave out Hulk? And they were like, well, let's keep it real, they kept pushing Hulk to the side. So I think that's why I like Edward Norton more, because he felt more serious, where Mark Ruffalo started out serious, and then they made Hulk more of a joke, to where I'll even
Yeah.
admit, as much as I love Endgame, like I didn't like that, when the one scene where he saw how he used to be, and he was like, oh, roar, like I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Was funny in the moment because you get the context, but when you really think about it as a Hulk fan, it's like, damn, we really are kind of getting the lame version of Hulk right now.
Yeah, I feel that. But we might
Um,
have to speed run a little bit
why?
because there's a lot of movies and stuff.
Oh, okay. Did you say you're 30?
Yeah, it was
Okay,
Moon
so
Knight.
29 is Avengers Age of Ultron for me, which I already said why I liked it.
Yeah, and mine is Iron Man 2. So it was very like like I said, I like some parts of it where it seemed more it had some fun parts and then it was like some slow parts.
Now, for my list, this is the part where we start to get to, it was decent, but I felt like they could have done more with it. Iron Man 3. That's my 28th pick.
Okay. I feel that. Mine's is kind of similar. Mine is the Thor movie.
The first one.
Yeah, because I felt like they both had the same problem where there's parts where they show the characters where they're like interesting and you would want to see that more, but then it because I feel like both have the same problem of the side characters kind of get in the way a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
because that was my biggest problem with the first Thor movie or and the second Thor movie, but the first Thor movie it was like the side characters seemed to get a little bit more in the way because
Yeah.
it was like Natalie Portman's okay, but it's like you didn't really you were want to see Thor, not really like her individual scenes or the doctor or something.
Though I will say before we move on, I didn't care about the whole Mandarin thing like everybody else did, but then again, I don't have like, that much of a relationship with the comics.
Well, see, I realized I like the Mandarin thing more once I saw Shang-Chi.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it became better once Shang-Chi came out.
Though Ben Kingsley, I forget the name of his actual character, like the guy that was pretending to be the
Mm-hmm.
Mandarin, but he wasn't really him. His character became annoying as hell in Shang-Chi.
See, I didn't think so. I thought that he played him just perfectly because he wasn't in too much. He was just
Nah,
in the perfect
for all the parts
parts.
that he was in, he annoyed the shit out of me. I'm like,
Oh,
all right, can you leave, man? Like, I'm done.
I,
All right. Wait, what are you about to say?
I was going to say, but I did like him in Iron Man 3 because I was like, man, he played it just right. How like an actor would be trying to focus on getting the right line to make it seem like, and he was like, "You'll never see me coming." And he was like, "Yeah, there's a certain voice you gotta do with it." Like he saw it as an art when he thought he didn't even know they were really killing people and stuff. And he was just playing along.
This dude was basically 6'9". But yeah, like you said, we got to speed run through
Mhm.
some of these. So 27, I have Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I have Black Widow.
Damn, man. Yo, Black Widow be getting disrespected. I really like Black
Well,
Widow a
see,
lot.
I'm also feel like this is my part of the list where it was decent, but they could have did more. And I felt like the only reason I thought Black Widow was good, but the only reason is it didn't feel relevant because it was like we already know she's dead, so it's not really moving much along.
But see, that's one of the reasons I like it so much is because and you guys are probably gonna notice, like, even though this is a shared universe, I kind of like a lot of the movies where you could watch it and not have to care about anything else. The only reason that I can like one reason I can see why people will put it low on their list, because I feel like a lot of people complain about irrelevant stuff with that movie, is now this is the first movie that made me care about Black Widow, because when she died, I honestly didn't really care that much. I didn't think much was going to change when she died, but this movie made me care about her. But the one thing that I do feel bad is you finally made a Black Widow movie where I cared about her, but then you made her family more interesting than her, especially her sister.
Yeah,
Like, I love Yelena. She is
that's
so
why
great.
it should have been more of a her movie and then called Black Widow still, but it was okay.
Yeah. No, I am
Oh,
glad that she's gonna be in the MCU. And no, Josh, not because Florence Pugh looks good. I just actually like Yelena. Because you know what? I'm gonna say this and then we'll move on. I was gonna say I like Yelena because you know what? You know how I told you when I watch Power, I love how crazy Tommy is and how much he don't
hmm.
care. Literally in the theater, I turned to Al and I was like, "Yo, if Tommy met this girl, he would be in love." Like Yelena reminds me so much of a female Tommy.
Oh my
If you
gosh.
guys watch Power too, then you know what I'm talking about. Um, so next is the first Avengers movie.
Oh wow. Well, I had Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Wow, that's funny
It,
that
yeah.
you were, yeah.
The
Um,
only thing I'll say about Falcon and Winter Soldier is the reason where it is right now is because this show makes me feel kind of guilty because the
do
whole
better.
it, the whole show is like passing the torch of Captain America on to Sam, and he's making it like they won't accept me, like people won't accept me because I'm black. And then I'll be feeling bad because it's like I'm a big fan of Chris Evans and Steve Rogers as Captain America. And I don't really see Falcon as Captain America like that
Bro,
because
that's what I was saying to
it,
Seth when I was talking to him about it. I'm like, you don't come off as black. Like,
oh
okay,
yeah,
you don't come,
and see
you
that's
don't
the
come off as Captain America yet. You still come off as Falcon to me.
that's what I feel bad about because I know people are gonna be like, that's Black Captain America. Like not even Captain America, they just gonna be call him or Black Falcon or whatever. It's
Yeah,
like I don't want to be feeling be what he accused us of, but it's just like he proves my point. Like when at the end of the show, when he's giving that speech, I know if Captain America was giving that speech, like if Steve Rogers was giving that speech, he would have been like, because in there he's giving the speech about like how everybody has to do better and stuff and not push people to the side and stuff like that. Sam says he's like someone asks, so what should we do? And he just says, do better. What is that supposed to do? I don't know what that means. But I know if Steve Rogers was talking, he would have been like, we'll do better. Because that's his whole thing. He would make it seem like it's all our fault and something we all got to do. He would just make it seem like it's one person's fault. And that's why I was like, darn.
no, because
Because
I thought about it in a joking way. Like if someone says, "Man, this country is horrible," well, and Steve Rogers will be like, "No, we are a horrible country."
Cause it's like whenever he said something, he could talk about y'all losing, and he would make
No,
it seem
we're
like it's a
losing.
noble thing. Yeah, like when Iron Man said, "What if we lose?" He just turns to him and be like, "We'll do that together too." It's like, darn, okay.
Well,
Like,
damn. Okay. What if I get
like
my ass beat? We're all gonna get our ass.
that's how it went. Remember when it was like Iron Man said Thanos came and I couldn't stop him. Captain America went, he came here too. We tried our best. We couldn't stop. Like it just makes it seem like darn. We really
You know,
did try our best.
when you put it that way, I wouldn't want Steve Rogers Captain America. Like, damn, well, I lost the fight against Thanos. No, we lost the fight against. I know. That's why we sit here right now talking about this.
Could you imagine him coming to a funeral being like, he'd be like, he died. No, today we all lost a little bit of ourselves.
He
Like,
really would.
darn.
No, he really would say that. You're joking, but watch. That would be in a future movie if he ever came back.
You could be like, I burnt my food. He'd be like, no, we burnt our food together. Be like, darn. Be like, at least we did it together.
His speeches, they could be hit or miss for me now that we bring that up. But yeah, we really do need to speed through because we only about to have an hour left. We still got like half the damn topic.
Okay.
All right, so 25, I have What If.
Oh, I didn't even realize I put that. I forgot that even counted as a thing.
Damn, Jones.
What if would then be below Hulk? Because I really wasn't a fan.
What do you have for 25?
The first Avenger of Captain America.
Wow, I'm surprised that low.
Well, see, it's one of those where it's decent, but it just feels like a standard Marvel movie.
Okay. 24, I have the Eternals.
I have the Eternals too.
Damn, Joe. Yo, people are just about to say our lists are ties for like controversial. You know, our list is a little bit closer than I thought we were gonna be.
Like literally, most of the ones we've mentioned are either a little ahead of each other or a little below each other.
Mm-hmm. 23, I have the first Captain America, which
oh wow.
I'm not even joking, bro.
Okay, here's where it gets controversial. I have Black Panther.
All right, you gotta explain this. Explain it quickly, but explain it
okay.
Because you know so people are gonna be mad.
My whole thing is, and you know, peace out to Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. In the most respectful way, I felt like his character was so boring in this movie. Like, you come from Civil War where Black Panther was crazy, like he had chased down someone. He literally told Captain America to his face, he was like, you think you can keep your boy, keep me away from your boy? I'm coming for him.
Yeah,
and there's nothing you can do.
He's like, I'm gonna get your friend. Steve Rogers just okay.
And Clint was like, hi, I'm Clint. He was like, I don't care who you are. I'm going through you.
Basically, we like Black Panther more when he was a savage.
Yeah. And I felt like the villain was gory. But like Killmonger was everybody's favorite. And they were like, man, he's dropping knowledge. He's the true hero. He's doing what's right. And then when you start thinking about it, half this movie don't make sense. Like they didn't give him time to see if his plan was actually evil or going to work. Like his plan was just to give other people weapons. Who was he giving the weapons to? He just said, give it to the underprivileged. Okay. We don't know who that is, what he's doing.
Actually, if you really think about it in a way, if he was going to give it to underprivileged, which I'm going to assume like people in the hood and stuff like that, I mean, yeah, I mean, people in Chicago got fucking military grade guns, people posing with bazookas, so I don't think he needs to give it to them.
And if you really think, their advanced weapons were just like vibranium spears and mess. So can you imagine like people running up was like
you wanna fight? And then somebody will just pull out a gun and just end it right there. No, imagine a vibranium pistol. Now that would be crazy.
Oh no, that would actually be very like not really good because that means you have to find special bullets every time you want to shoot that mess.
Oh yeah, true, true. Hey, then
You,
there wouldn't be so many shootings in America if you actually had to save your bullets.
man, shoot one, be like, darn, I missed. That's like $500 down the
Dang,
drain.
now I gotta go back to Wakanda and buy more.
But my biggest problem with it is when Killmonger over here is saying, he's like, bury me in the ocean with my ancestors. Where they rather jump there than be in bondage. And then I'm just in the theater thinking, so if they jumped in the water and died before they got you,
That can't be
then
your
how they,
ancestors.
yeah.
Then how were you born?
And then I really started thinking, I'm like, wasn't his ancestors just living in Wakanda? So they didn't even really travel on the boats, did they?
Not really, no.
So see, that was my whole thing. It's like I feel like the movie because everybody was so on it being like a black movie and stuff.
Mhm.
And then I really thought about it. I was like, these Africans don't really like black people like that.
Like
And these are Africans.
when you think about it more and more, because even my mom called me around the time
Mm,
saying that she wanted to see the movie, and I'm like, I kept trying to tell people like, yes, this is a black movie, but like it's a superhero movie first. If you don't like superhero movies, don't force yourself to sit through it because
yeah.
it has a primarily black cast.
But I
But
still thought it was good.
most people still went to see it anyway just because. And I really want to know, like, if you're not a comic book fan or a superhero fan, I really want to ask people, did you still enjoy the movie?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you would, since I basically said it was Lion King just with black people. A lot of people
I
like
never
Lion King, so
I could never get that out of my head what you said the best.
bro, I looked it up after we talked about it, and there's hella articles talking about how similar both movies are. Like,
Oh,
I'm glad I'm not the only person that noticed. But 22, I have the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
I have Iron Man 3.
Yeah, our lists are really not that too far
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah.
21, I have Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay, here's where another controversial one. I have Civil War.
Is that really controversial?
I don't know. A lot people either really like Civil War or don't like Civil War that
Like
much.
I see a lot of people complaining about it because, or the biggest complaint I've seen about it is, oh, this isn't even really a Captain America movie, even though I would argue it is.
See, I it's risen up because it used to be lower. The reason I feel like that is because it you I feel like the main draw of the movie is just that airport scene. When I ask most people, like they don't even remember most of the movie before it gets to that airport scene. Once it gets to that and then the fights after and stuff, they remember. But before that, it's like I didn't really care till they got to the airport and started fighting. And that's why it's like half that movie's forgettable to me.
See, I didn't think the movie was forgettable, but I like it was like I thought the movie was good, but I maybe it's just a case where I thought the movie was good, but I just felt like the movies that I have ranked over it were just better.
Mm,
Because I will admit that the main draw really was the airport scene and the fact that Spider-Man was in it. Though I
yeah,
do appreciate it more than other people because I like to look at the other things outside of just, the airport scene. Because I mean, okay, yeah, I know this leads into that fight, but I do genuinely like the discussion of whether the government should control them. Personally, I don't think the government should control the Avengers, but
I agree.
it was nice seeing the discourse between it. And the crazy thing is, usually I don't give a damn about stuff like that in movies. Like, I don't care about what the government or anything like that is thinking. But in this movie, they made it interesting to me.
I
Not
feel
only
you.
that, but it was nice. Like, I feel like the way they handled Iron Man's part of the story, where you find out that Bucky killed his parents, and you
Mhm.
kind of see the confrontation between them, which that was a very underrated fight. Bucky and
Oh yeah.
Steve versus Iron Man. Like people be overlooking that because of the airport scene, but like that fight was very underrated. And also, War Machine really wasn't that big of a character to me, but it was kind of emotional seeing him probably die. So,
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit.
but so 20, I know this is probably going to be controversial with you, or actually, I already told you how I felt about this. WandaVision.
I knew it was coming right here.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. I know you didn't really. Was it you? Was it more you didn't vibe with like the TV aspect, like the going through like the age of the shows and stuff?
Some part, like, yeah, actually, no, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it was mostly the TV aspect. And even like the first few episodes when it was just solely based on the TV aspect, I felt like the show was getting better to me once the story started kicking in more and we were trying to figure out like what is going on. Is Wanda really the villain in all this? Like when stuff like that started coming up. I mean, it was nice seeing them do little nods to shows that I used to watch, like when they got to the 2010s portion and they were parroting Modern Family. Like it
Oh
was a
yeah.
nice, it was a like a nice little nod, but I'm just like, all right, I'd rather see the story.
Oh, see, I loved WandaVision. I thought it was so good.
Though
I love the TV aspect.
this might be an unpopular opinion, but my favorite aspect of WandaVision was actually Monica Rambeau.
Really?
Yeah, I found her the most interesting out of everybody.
See, I love the show in general. Like, I love when things build up to a mystery. So I loved the whole build up to the mystery of who the villain was, the creepy aspects. I used to watch a lot of old timey shows, so I love those old timey show aspects and stuff. And like I watched like the Andy Griffin show and stuff like that. So seeing stuff
Mhm.
like that, I loved. And mine was Ant-Man and the Wasp because I like I said, I like Ant-Man. I thought I was good.
All right. 19, I have Thor Love and Thunder.
Interesting. I have Guardians of the Galaxy.
See, like I said, our lists
It,
are like not
it
too far from each other. So any
yeah.
quick thoughts on that
Uh
or
I thought Guardians of the Galaxy was like I know you had a little lower, but I thought it was fun. Like I love movies that are just a fun, good time and seem like, a good ensemble cast and they just equipping back to each other. So I just had fun with it. And I love music in movies. So hearing like a soundtrack while they would do certain things, I love that aspect.
okay. I mean, just to explain to the
Mm,
audience, because Josh already knows this, I feel like the Guardians are a little overhyped. Like, they have their moments, and I can't say like they're a bad group. I mean, I hate Star-Lord. That's the only character I really
it-
hate of the whole group. But like they're like a little overhyped, but like I rock with them. Like I cared about them in the big team up movie. So
mm,
yeah, they ain't bad, but like I don't really care for them too much. Oh yeah, as far as Thor Love and Thunder, I liked it a lot more than most people. And I mean, I genuinely don't think it's as bad as people say it is. Maybe over time people will learn to appreciate it a little bit more. The only gripe I did have was like the tone can be jarring in certain parts. Like some parts will be really funny and then out of nowhere it'll get like dark out of nowhere. So that was like my only gripe. But I mean, hey, it wasn't that bad of a movie as everybody's saying it is.
yeah, and my next movie was Thor Love and Thunder. So it was like
Oh
right
my
ahead.
god.
It- and just so y'all know, me and Tevin didn't tell each other what our list would be. So
Like we really did not know our list was going to be this similar. And you want to know something else? My next pick is Captain America: Civil War.
oh my gosh. So my whole thing with Love and Thunder is I know people are the biggest criticism is the comedy, but I always felt like because I'm the type of person who would be funny when I'm uncomfortable, and I thought it was like an uncomfortable type of funny.
Mhm.
So because when Thor, whenever the movie had to get serious, it felt like it got serious at just the right moments, and like the whole in like second act, it felt like there was no real comedy. Like it was serious beat after serious beat. So I thought I thought it was handled well. I just think that the reason why it was jarring for people is because it wasn't advertised as a comedy, and I think that made it like I feel like if it was advertised more as a comedy, people would went in loving it a lot more.
Mhm.
Because average people don't realize advertising can really affect stuff like that,
Yeah.
and like knowing what type of movie you're getting can really help set the tone of it.
And just to tell y'all, I mean, I really haven't seen much of the advertising for the movie. I knew it was coming out, but I didn't watch most of the trailers or nothing like that. So I didn't really know what to expect. So that's probably why I enjoyed it more than most people, because I didn't really have no expectations going in. Um, next I have Ant-Man at 17.
I have Multiverse of Madness.
Okay.
So because I liked the movie, I really did. But again, I like the movie because of Wanda. Like I thought Wanda was the strongest part of the movie and really good. I care less for Doctor Strange. I think he's a good side character, but and I thought it like this was advertised as a horror, and I liked it. I thought it was a good, like, had good suspense, horror, like psychological. I thought it was really
And you know what? That's why the movie is so high on my list. Because if anybody that knows me
good.
knows I love horror movies, and all the things that people are complaining about, where the Illuminati died pretty quickly and stuff like that, and how was Wanda able to kill them just like this? I didn't give a damn. Sam Raimi. First off, I don't know how people went into this movie knowing it was directed by Sam Raimi and they weren't going to expect like the horror to be on 10, because he made classic horror movies that we look back on. So I mean, I was glad that they played into the horror aspect, and I like seeing like all the little references to like classic horror movies in there. Um, Dang, what
and
was that?
what did you put here?
Oh, I put Ant-Man here simply just because
Oh,
I thought it was a funny movie, and I mean, out of all the heroes, I knew really the least about Ant-Man. So I think this was another case where I didn't have no expectations, so I wound up enjoying it a lot more. And Ant-Man is genuinely funny, and I do genuinely like his character, but I will say the one thing that I do like about this movie more than most, and I think I said this to you before, Marvel movies know how to do father and daughter relationships very well.
yeah,
And his daughter in this movie and his relationship with her was like one of the best aspects to me.
I
Not to
agree.
mention, also not to mention, I'm a rap fan, so Ti being in the movie was a little bit of a plus, a little bit.
My next
um,
one is Miss Marvel.
oh man,
Now,
not my baby Amon Villani.
no, see, I thought it was a good show, right?
Okay,
Because we're starting to get to the part of the list where these are good. I just don't think they're better than the ones of my top 10.
yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Pretty much. Once we got the Civil War, that's pretty much where we got with me.
Because I thought Miss Marvel was real good, and I love the family aspect. For me, it's always the shows kind of lag a little in the middle. So it was like
Mhm.
episode 4 and 5 that were like a little slower. That's why it's a little lower on my list. But then episode 6 was awesome. So it's like I like most of Miss
I mean, fans are probably going to be mad at where I got Miss Marvel at, but
Marvel.
we'll get to that eventually. For me, 16 was the first Iron Man movie. I mean, like I said, I enjoyed it, and pretty much the only reason it's this low is just because I like the other movies, more than this one.
I
So
feel it.
for my 15, you might be shocked by this since I literally just said the first Iron Man movie, but the first Doctor Strange, I put at 15.
Wow, you put that high.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
also for context, this was one of the few movies I watched before I got into the MCU. So, like I said, I like movies where I really feel like I don't need to know much, and I just like that one a lot because I
I
really
feel it.
didn't need to know anything for that.
My pick was Ant-Man.
Wow. Our
So
list, our list is like at this point, I keep telling them to pick who got the more controversial list, but at this point, it's starting to be like either or. Actually, I
uh
feel like I feel like the real difference will come once we get to like our top 10.
yeah.
So next I have for number 14, I have Captain Marvel, which
Oh,
I already said my thoughts on
yeah.
that one.
See, I was debating because, but I put Far From Home just
This
because,
low?
yes, because I was really thinking about it, and I I like the whole movie, but I it felt like I was watching a different movie. Like it felt like I was watching a facade for the first half of the movie. Like when Mysterio was acting all good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was because they want to make that super obvious or if they were trying to make it, but that just made it off for me. Like it wasn't bad or good. It was good. It felt off. But then once he was revealed as the villain, then the movie was real good for me. And I thought some of the scenes were fantastic, like especially when Mysterio beats him up with the illusions and stuff, and
Yeah.
he doesn't know what's real. He's like crying at the end when he sees Happy. I thought that was like one of the best scenes in the whole movie.
See, that's one thing that I feel like people like underlook for Far From Home. Like, because I like all the Spider-Man movies. They're all three of them is kind of high on my list. But the reason I kind of put Far From Home over is I'm someone where I like comedy, but I also like when they know how to use comedy with like serious moments. And
Mm-hmm.
while Homecoming was like really funny and that's like really good to me, I felt like Far From Home, it like the serious moments hit so much more. And because the movie was so much more serious, then the funnier moments also hit more. But I
Okay.
just liked how serious it was compared to like Homecoming, where I mean, it's not like No Way Home where that movie was really like really serious, but Far From Home had its moments. Like I actually really felt bad for Peter. Like once he really got his ass whooped and like he was stranded in the middle of that other country until he saw Happy. Like I'm like, damn, you really down bad. And then seeing him make the new suit, I was like, okay. So like that's what I mean. The movie had its serious moments, but it also, shed a light on like a lot of the good
Yeah.
moments as well. Also, the ending at the time, that ending where he was revealed as
Yeah.
Spider-Man was crazy.
Yeah. And I thought it was a perfect movie to like start because it was the movie right after Endgame. And I thought it was a good movie because it was like they like even though you love Black Widow, I thought like say if they had put Black Widow right after Endgame, I would have thought that would have been very bad because it's like how you're really going to follow Endgame with Black Widow, but Spider-Man's so well known and stuff that I thought it was a perfect movie to follow up Endgame. So
Yeah. And it kind of makes sense looking back at it since they kind of teased the multiverse a little bit in that movie.
mm-hmm.
But so the next one I got is Black Widow for 13. Well, we
Are
already
you
said
on
our thoughts on
13?
that. Yeah, because the last one I said was Captain Marvel.
Okay. I chose Iron Man.
Our lists really aren't that far off, man.
Yeah,
Um,
because it
so
started it all off. I thought it had to be a strong movie to begin the universe.
and it was genuinely a good movie. Okay, I don't really tell a lot of people this, but I actually did not like Iron Man when I first got into the MCU. I felt like the fact that his character wasn't everything was very annoying. And I felt like a lot of people was like dick riding Robert Downey
Mm-mm.
Jr. But then when I actually saw the first Iron Man and I was getting more into the MCU, like I even had to admit to myself, I'm like, damn, he is actually good as Iron Man. Especially that first movie. Like I was like, damn, I can see why people rock with him so much. I mean, he still annoyed me big and everything. Like I still felt like they used his character too much in some moments, but I'm like, man, he's actually good. Damn.
Darn. So I
Um,
think I'm on number 10.
oh,
So
you're
you
on
might want,
10.
yeah, so you might want to read off
Okay,
two
I'll
extra.
go through mine. Okay, 12, I put Hawkeye. We already said how we felt about that. 11, I put Shang-Chi, which
Wow.
I like the okay, I know what I told you, Josh. I'm gonna tell them real quick. So when I talked to Josh about Shang-Chi, I liked it because I like the idea of Shang-Chi, like, a hero that's so good with kung fu, like he could keep up with these like superhumans and stuff like that. I like that. The part that kind of got me messed up with Shang-Chi, I like the first half a lot, but it's the second half where I still like it, but I felt like the second half kind of became more of that typical Marvel movie. So like it went down a few points for me, but it didn't like ruin the movie for me because like I mean I know what I got into. It's a Marvel movie, but it was still a good movie, and it's still I mean it's number 11, so it's pretty high up on my list. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing more Shang-Chi. So number 10, that's where I have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And I already said why I like the movie so much because a lot of its horror elements and stuff.
I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 just because I really like the music there. And I thought, like I said, I love the vibe of the Guardians. So it had to be in my top 10.
Okay. Number 9, I have Captain. Oh, now,
Oh wait,
now,
did you get your oh yeah, you did get your 10.
yeah. Now, Josh, remember when we talked before the show and I was like, I feel like the top of my list is kind of like the hype beast movies or whatever. So
Yeah.
let me know if this is hype beast, if this is a hype beast list. I only feel like one thing won't be hype beast, but 9, I have Winter Soldier.
Darn, wow. But I can see.
You can see why I put that there.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say quickly, Winter Soldier. It really is like it's really just one of those movies where I don't really have no issues with it. It got some of my favorite fight scenes. Like me and Josh watched it for the first time together, so he saw how invested I was, and that elevator scene is like top 5. Actually, matter of fact, top 3 best fight scenes in Marvel movies because I liked how cold Captain America was with it. Like he was like, so does anybody want to leave before we start? Yo, Captain
No,
America was on his savage stuff in that movie.
the line that got me is when it was over, when the guy was like, nothing personal, Cap. And then he was like, it feels personal after he kicked all their butts.
Yo, that movie, like I said, it's really good. It just there's no real gripes with it. I just found the other movies better. But what
So
was your number 9?
WandaVision. Like I said, I loved WandaVision. I love the whole mystery aspect.
Okay. 8, I have Thor Ragnarok.
Tevin, I have Ragnarok too.
Oh my god, yo. Guys, I promise you, we did not do this on purpose. I promise you we didn't.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
I,
man.
I was finishing up my list right as we started, so we really didn't know.
Oh my god. All right. Number 7, I have Miss Marvel.
Oh,
Which
I have.
that's the one that's not hype beast that I have up there.
Yeah, I could see why it's good though, because the family aspect was just so good.
Yeah. Which I'm kind of glad because,
Ye-
the mom kind of bad though.
Oh
Like,
my gosh.
yo, Amon Villani, I still want you. You're still my number 1 celebrity
Oh my.
crush. But like, if the mom from Miss Marvel hit me up, I'm gonna have to kind of see what's up with that thing. So,
And see, this is why I say why Hawkeye's so high on his list.
no,
Tell me
because
I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
I genuinely enjoy Miss Marvel. Just because the show is full of baddies doesn't mean like the show isn't good.
Oh, let me not say that joke because I don't know how it would come off. But that's like if someone's really attractive, but you're saying, I just enjoyed the conversation we were
Oh
having.
my
And
god.
you
That's like those guys that be staring at a girl's body during the conversation, like,
yeah.
man, she got a good heart. She got a good mind. I like it. Like, nah, motherfucker, you know why you like the conversation. But number 6, I have Black Panther,
I have Shang-Chi. Oh
which
wait, yeah.
I will admit, Black Panther. is mostly I agree with Josh where Chadwick Boseman, like we said, RIP to him. He's not a bad actor. Guys, don't get in your feelings. But Chadwick Boseman was kind of the least interesting part of the movie to me. And then also partly biased because Kendrick Lamar made the soundtrack to that movie, and that's not really the only reason I seen the movie in the first place. Because I'm like, okay, it's a soundtrack good, maybe the movie's good. So yeah. Number 5, I have Spider-Man: Homecoming.
So I have Avengers because I
The
thought
first one.
it's the original Avengers. That mess is epic. Like it had to be good or we would not got all these phases.
Yeah, I mean, look,
It
I don't know if I said it earlier when I mentioned the Avengers being low on my list, but like I liked it more for the action aspect, but me, like I kind of wanted more out of it. And I mean, I know that sounds stupid considering how much
mm,
everybody likes that movie, but like, I don't know. The movie just didn't entertain me that much besides the action.
so I think
And
Avengers was my number 6. So let me just get to my number
now look
5 so
who's
we're caught
behind
up.
now.
I don't know what happened with our numbers.
All right. Well, what's your number 5? Because I said
Infinity
Homecoming.
War.
Infinity War number 5?
Yes, because I realized as we're getting to the top of my list, I like more singles movies than like group group movies because I like focusing on one character or like a couple characters. So like
That makes
Infinity
sense.
War was mostly like I thought it was good. It was just mostly action and combining all these heroes, so there wasn't like one
And
person to
see,
focus on.
that's one of the reasons when people say which one is better, Infinity War or Endgame, I always say Endgame. And I feel like most people like, and I said this to you before, like that Infinity War, people just see it as a good movie because everybody's finally together and it kind of gives off like that Saturday morning cartoon feel. Like it's
Hmm.
not it's not corny like some of them were, but it's like this is a big event where we all get together and we get to see these heroes teaming up and finally for the first time. Like I like how Endgame, and I'm more of a story guy. I like how
Yeah.
Endgame focused on our like original heroes and tried to give them satisfying endings for like a decade long story. But okay, I might have spoiled the rest of my list just me even saying that. But
Oh,
no, number 4, I have Far From Home, which I already implied that I thought that was slightly better than Homecoming.
see, I have the opposite. I have Homecoming.
Wow. So what's your reason for putting Homecoming over Far From Home?
Well, see, I just like because my thing is I realize I like introductions and I like endings the most. So I love the introduction of Spider-Man, like how he's like, yeah, you had him introduced in Civil War, but he really got to like you see who he is
Hmm.
in this movie, and he felt like a cartoon Spider-Man. Like he was always talking and joking. He was a kid just trying to figure out this stuff. Like, and even though I know other people love like the other two Spider-Man, they didn't feel like kids. They didn't feel like teenagers.
Oh yeah, definitely not Toby Maguire. That
Yeah,
motherfucker was like a grown ass man trying to pull off
yeah.
a teenager.
But he felt like a teenager. Like he worried about things I was worried about as a teenager. He didn't really have bullies. He just didn't fit in. He was like, it was like he was just worried about taking a girl to homecoming. And then, and I think the reason I really love the movie is because one of the tensest scenes any of the MCU was in that movie, and I wasn't expecting it to come out. Where he's sitting in the car, and then the vulture's figuring out as they're driving
Oh
that he
yeah,
is.
that part was intense.
I was sitting in the theater like I could hear me gulping.
I know the vulture wanted to beat his ass just a little
Yeah,
bit more since I know my arch enemy is not going to the dance with my daughter.
but the thing is, the reason I love this movie over Far From Home is because of the choice he gives them. And that's the thing that starts setting up Peter Parker, like as how he
Oh, are you
is.
talking about at the end when he could be an Avenger?
No, I'm talking about when uh like all movie, like Spider-Man Peter Parker wants to take out this girl to homecoming.
Mhm.
And then Vulture gives him the chance. He's like, hey, you can either come chase me, probably die, or you can go in there, have a great night, turn your back on it, dance with my daughter. You know, he still said, be respectful, come home, have a good time. But, you know, have a
See,
great
Joe,
night.
I didn't think about it like that. I just saw it as like him giving an intimidating speech. But when you put it like that, like, hey, look, now you can fight me. Like, you can meet me
Yeah.
outside and fight me, or you could go in and have a dance with my
Yeah.
daughter. Like,
Yeah. And for a second, you're concerned because he was wanting this the whole time. And it's really the first step of showing Spider-Man's not going to do what he wants. He's got to
yo,
do what's
Josh,
right.
I'm laughing because let's keep it real. In real life, most guys would be like, yeah, I'm about to
Yeah,
get
I'm
some of
going.
that food. Yeah, I'm about to give you some of that. Maybe if there's time, maybe if there's a little bit of time, I might.
No, he said, I would have been like, you said die? I might just go in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in there. I'll try to catch up with you later, bro. I'm gonna go in
Yeah.
there.
And I thought that was just awesome. And
Which
like,
I do gotta say, man, shout out to Tom Holland for picking between two sisters.
oh my gosh.
No piece of mayonnaise or milk. Hey, no problem with white women, but no piece of mayonnaise or milk nowhere. My guy had jungle fever.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Number 3, I have Infinity War.
Interesting. I have No Way Home.
Hmm. That's
Because,
interesting because my number 2 is No Way Home.
oh my gosh. I just thought No Way Home was so good.
No Way Home is amazing. And guys, I hate when people say this. No, nostalgia is not the reason why that's the best Spider-Man movie. Like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire obviously was a great thing in there, but I feel like the way they set up Tom Holland's Peter Parker, because the main thing I kept complaining about and hearing other people complain about was how he felt like Iron Man Jr. He didn't feel like his own hero. And this is the movie. I feel like Marvel, when they made this movie, they were taking that like very seriously. Like, all right, we need to make a Spider-Man movie where like, all right, forget Iron Man, forget everybody else. This is finally him coming into his own as Spider-Man. And
And
that's the
see,
oh wait,
oh,
go ahead.
I just always think back to the one scene, and I even told you about this. The one
Mm,
scene that like epitomizes the movie isn't with Andrew Garfield, isn't with Tobey Maguire, it's not with any of the villains. It's right after his aunt died, and J. Jonah Jameson's on that big board talk, talking, telling how this is a tragedy, how his his actions caused this,
which
how
that
he
was
was
that
reckless.
when me and Josh were talking about, I was saying like how beautiful of a shot that was. Like that was
Yeah,
amazing seeing him in the rain and especially that one shot where he looks so puny, but the screen was big as
yeah.
hell and he's watching J. Jonas Jameson. But see, that's why I love the movie so much because like how do I put this? Like Toby and Andrew was good for like, the feel good moments or anything like that. But the more serious moments in the movie that stuck with me was all just the Tom Holland one by himself. Aunt May's death, like we said, that one scene with him on the rooftop, him willing to give up like everything just for his friends to go to college when they were feeling the repercussions just for him being a hero, like all the best things, as much as I love Toby and Andrew, the best parts of that movie literally was everything Tom Holland.
Yeah, and that's why I know there's a whole argument about like who's the better Spider-Man. And I think because my whole thing is people will say Toby or Andrew, and I feel like it depends what you like. Because I think the best Peter Parker, the person who showed the epitome of like what it means to be a Peter Parker, was Toby Maguire. And I think the
Mm.
best version of Spider-Man was Andrew Garfield because he had the quips, he looked the part, he like just how he was as Spider-Man was the best. But when you want to mix and see the whole version of the character, I think it's Tom Holland because he shows the weight of being Spider-Man, but also like the fun side. But he also shows his nerdy side as Peter Parker and stuff, and how that plays into him being Spider-Man.
You
But
know,
in the end, or I said in the end, he did something neither one of them could do. Because in Tobey Maguire's movies, he would make selfish decisions for himself. And then in the Andrew Garfield movies, he would make like that's what got Gwen Stacy killed. He would make selfish decisions. But in this Spider-Man movie, he was the one Spider-Man that didn't make a selfish decision. He was like, I want them to be happy before me. And that's Peter Parker's fatal flaw, that he will do what's right for someone else before himself. That's why I think he's the best
see,
one.
the topic of who's the best Spider-Man and Peter Parker, I feel like my answer fluctuates over time because there was a point in time where actually I've been saying this for a long time before No Way Home came out that Andrew Garfield was personally my favorite. But then after seeing No Way Home, I feel like there's more of an argument for Tom Holland. But then also seeing how much better like written Andrew Garfield was in this movie, and then knowing that he's most likely going to get more movies, I would have to say my answer is postponed right now. Like I need to
Oh
see
my
more.
gosh.
But I will say that the way they set up Tom Holland, you know, I honestly got to keep it real. Tom Holland could potentially wind up being the best overall Spider-Man to me in the future. And I mean, that's the thing. Andrew Garfield was for the most part my favorite, even when Tom Holland was like having his first two movies. But this was finally the movie where I could say, damn, they kind of leveled out the playing field. Like I can actually see a real argument for just like what you said. You were basically bringing up good examples from this movie. But I mean, every other movie, I was like, I could see why other people may like it, but for me personally, I don't know. But when you bring up like how selfless he was, especially throughout this movie, I'm like, damn, that is pretty much what it really means to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, a lot of people will probably say to your response or say to you, like, oh, he was selfless because he learned that from Andrew and Toby. But really, if you think about it, throughout this whole movie, he was selfless. He just went about it in a different way by the
Yeah.
end. So that's what I really loved about No Way Home. Like people will talk about Toby and Andrew all day. And while that was great to have them in there, like Tom Holland really he acted his ass off in this movie.
I agree.
And of course, number one for me is
Oh wait,
Endgame.
did you say you too?
Yeah, two was No Way Home.
Oh, did I say my two? Oh, I didn't say my two.
Oh yeah, we
That's
got
why
into like a long conversation about
yeah,
No Way Home.
I chose Endgame.
Okay.
Probably because I'll save that talk for when you get to your when we say number one, since your number one's gonna be
Well,
Endgame.
yeah, I already said number one's Endgame.
Yeah.
So okay.
So my number one is Winter Soldier.
All right. So the reason that Endgame is number one for me, and I kind of said it before already, was that I'm very much of a story guy. So, and I mean, I will admit, because me and Josh have talked about this before, like, I do feel like Endgame is a good movie if you haven't really seen any, but it really helps so much more because I will admit, if I didn't watch all the other Marvel movies, Endgame would probably be lower on my list. But because I stuck with the story and I saw like everything that these characters went through, Endgame basically wound up being the most amazing movie to me because, like I said, I loved how they pretty much finished up the story. And I'm gonna keep it real. When I watch most movies and TV shows or anything like that, and it comes to a finale, a lot of times I feel like a little disappointed. Not like the finales are bad, but I wanted more out of it. But Endgame is probably one of those few finales in anything, movies, TV shows, anything, where I felt like, damn, if the Marvel universe ended right here, I would be just fine. Cause I loved how they tied up everything like so well. And basically, just like I said earlier, like how I like when they balance comedy and serious moments. This movie is more serious than a lot of other Marvel movies. So that's also why, like, the comedy really hits hard for me. Like, you know, this movie just really doesn't have much flaws to me. Like, you know, the filmmaking aspects was good, the acting was good, the story was good, comedy worked. I know a lot of people hate Fat Thor, but I mean, if you keep up with the story of it and you see how like depressed he became, kind of makes sense that he ended up like that. Like, I would probably say my only gripe was really, like I said, how they kind of made Hulk lame a little bit.
Mm,
But like, I really don't have much issues with this movie, and like I said, I feel like it was the perfect like finale that you can make for people that kept up with these characters for.
yeah, hey, I fully agree. Just
And oh
because
yeah,
I,
how did I almost forget this movie? Even though I like what they did, where Infinity War was like the full on fight movie, and then this movie with the more
mhm,
story driven movie. And they're like, all right, we made you sit through 2 hours of story. Last hour, all out crazy fighting. And the last hour of fight scenes was amazing, but unpopular opinion. My favorite part of it was when Thor, Iron Man,
oh yeah.
and Captain America fought Thanos by himself. Even though that scene, Thanos thought he said a cool ass line, but that line didn't really make sense. Because my thing is, he really said, "Oh, you couldn't live with your failure, so you came back to me." Actually, no, they really didn't. They went back for the stones, and then your daughter had a recording of how you lost, and you couldn't take that loss. So you're like, "All right, I got to go into the future and get my lick back." And you did all of that just to
Oh
lose.
my gosh.
But okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, that fight scene was that fight scene was my favorite to me. And even though I'm not a comics guy, I'm not like, speculating like, when people was hype about Captain America picking up the hammer, people was hype because they teased that in Age of
Mhm.
Ultron. I was hyped because that was genuinely an amazing moment, like just seeing how powerful like Captain America was. And it really didn't dawn on me until after, like, damn, he was worthy. Like I was so amazed by how, I keep saying amazing, but that's how I feel about this movie. I was just so amazed at how amazing that part was, that it didn't really dawn on me like, damn, Captain America really was worthy. Like this, this dude is
Yeah.
over here beating Thanos' ass with the hammer.
See, I love the movie just because it was a, like I said, I love endings, and I thought it was a perfect way to end it. It wrapped up everything. It was, I was thinking, how do you win this? And I thought they did perfectly. And that final battle was the epic battle that everybody was waiting for.
And I'm not gonna lie. Now, guys, this is something a lot of people know this about me. I never cried in movies. Like, you know, I feel like a movie is good or bad, but I it rarely does movies really make me feel that emotional. And when I really think back on Endgame, like, I think another reason I like it so much is that there's so many feels in this movie. Iron Man getting a chance to see his dad when they go back to that military base in Jersey. um Captain America finally making a selfish decision for once and going back to live his
Yeah.
life with Peggy. Iron Man's death, was another one. Like, this movie made me feel all the emotions. I mean, okay, besides Black Widow, I'll admit that, but like, this movie made me feel like more emotions than I expected to. And I even said to you and Corey, I'm like,
Mm.
damn, Iron Man's death did actually hit a little bit hard for me.
I feel that. I feel that. I
And
chose
it
Winter Soldier. Oh,
Oh
what
no,
was
I
you
was
going to
gonna
say?
say I was gonna say one last thing. Even parts of the movie that really isn't part of the story, like even at the end when they did like the end credits where they did their sign off and had like the main Avengers with their signatures and everything like that, that made it really emotional for me. Like, damn, an era is really ending in this series.
I just thought it was awesome how they did the, like, how they did the final thing where it was, what was it? Where there was no end credit scene.
Yeah.
I thought that was a perfect way of play on how they've had end credit scenes the whole time.
Hmm.
And I think one of the end credit scenes was just like it had the sounds of like one of the fields or something.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it.
they were saying like the end is like Iron Man clanking on the like when he was making the suit in the
Oh
first
yeah.
movie. Yeah. So yeah, pretty much the movie was just an amazing finale. But you said Winter Soldier is your number
Oh
one?
yeah, I chose it because you know how I said I like single individual movies better.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this one was perfect because I love action thrillers, and I thought the thriller action was good. I thought the French, like usually, I feel like movies depict like romance really well, but I've never really seen movies depict friendship that well.
Well,
And
you know,
this depicted,
some people say Bucky and Steve got a relationship going.
well, I'm not talking about them. I mean him and
Oh,
Black Widow,
oh, okay. That's something I never heard before.
because that's the thing. Him and Black Widow became, like, you see after every other movie they were close because they became close in this movie. Like they tried playing forced romance, but it was just something unique how they were friends in this movie. She was like saying, "I have a checkered past and all that." He's like, "It don't matter. I'll be your friend. I still trust you." And it
Josh,
was like, "What?"
but before you say anything else, I love how this podcast went full circle because we were talking about how our first conversation was can men and women be friends, and now here we are. Basically, the podcast is about to be over soon, and we're talking about how Captain America and Black Widow were just really friends.
Yeah,
That
but
shit
that
went full
was
circle.
that was my thing too. We're a soldier,
Mm.
so
So, any more thoughts on it?
no, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well,
Was
question. Why don't you like Drake?
darn that must came out of nowhere.
I told you I was gonna do that.
So
For context, Josh does not like Drake. Like I try to get Josh onto rap music and stuff like that. I even bought him a Nothing with the Same CD, which I hope you have it, Jones. I
I
hope my
still
money.
have it.
I hope my money didn't go to waste. But
I've
like,
never listened to it.
I mean, okay, just as long as you physically have it. But I always try to get Josh into rap music, and I always tell him like, look, I know you don't like Drake, but at least the first few albums in his career is good.
Well, the reason I don't like Drake, it's one simple, shallow, petty reason. My favorite artist is Michael Jackson. And then he did that song
Doesn't
and
matter to me.
put that Michael Jackson voice on it. And that song was horrible. And he did Michael Jackson such a injustice. I couldn't, anybody who does the King of Pop dirty, I can't rock with.
Okay, but even before that, you still didn't like Drake like
No,
that.
yeah, but Tevin, it's like this. If someone came up, right,
Mm-hmm.
and say they made the best seafood you ever ate, right?
Yeah.
But then they spit on your dad's shoes on purpose every time they see, every time they see him, they
That was
spit on your
weird.
dad's shoe. I was trying to think of the most disrespectful thing. I feel like someone spit on their
I would
shoes.
think you would say they spit in your face every time they serve it to you.
No, I feel like it's more disrespectful. Like, yeah, your face level, so it makes sense if you spit in their face. But if you go and look at their shoes and go, that mess is nothing but disrespect. Like you can't take it any other
No,
way.
the real disrespectful if they spit on your girlfriend's face right in front of you.
They'd be like, "This your girlfriend? Yeah, she
Yeah.
pretty." Okay, say they spit in your girlfriend's face. So they spit in your girlfriend's face. You can't rock with them no more, no matter how much you love their food.
So basically, Drake spit in your girlfriend's face.
He spit in my worse. He spit in Michael Jackson's face.
So you telling me that? So you telling me
Yeah, you can do whatever.
So you and Michael Jackson and your girl is
Hey,
you rather have
my
somebody
mother,
spit.
my mother could be right there next to me and Michael Jackson. you can spin my mother's face. I'm not saying I would want you to, but Michael Jackson right there, and say you came up and you was like, so I got to spin one of their faces. Who's this, your mom or Michael Jackson? I'm like, I'm sorry, mom. You gotta take this one for Michael Jackson.
Over the woman that gave you life?
Yes.
Oh my god,
May have
yo.
gave me life, but Michael Jackson showed me what life meant with those songs.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
This is an exclusive. You just seen it here first.
I'm just saying, you don't spit in Michael Jackson's face, and that's what Drake did. And now me and Drake can never be cool. Unless he makes another song with Michael Jackson.
The thing I want to know though is what made you not like him before that though?
Oh no, I liked him before that. I had some of the songs on my playlist. I thought he was okay till I heard that song.
Wow. Oh, I do remember you having Fake Love on your playlist, and I remember one of our first few conversations was, this is the Drake song you like? Yeah. Because I don't like Fake Love. I like a lot of Drake songs, but like not that one.
The only reason I like that song is because you ever like have a song where you heard it so many times that you're just like, I don't know if I like it, but I'm okay with hearing it now.
You know what? That's how I mean, I'm not really trying to say this just because we're talking about Drake, but like, remember I told you his newest album, Honestly Nevermind? I don't like the album. And there was a few songs that I liked from it, but one of the songs that I didn't like that I kind of grew over time to like because people kept playing it and I kept hearing it all the time was this one song called Sticky. And like they kept playing it over and over, and I'm like, I can actually tolerate the song now. And then it went from tolerating it to, okay, I actually do like this one now.
Yeah,
but that's the only song where that can work. The rest of them are still horrible to me.
But okay, let's speed through a few of these.
I don't know, man. We only have 30 minutes. I don't know how we going to speed through some of these.
Okay. At least let's talk about Malignant and Batman, because I watched that movie.
All right. So what I'll say is this before we get to the movies. Josh, is there any day like this week that we could probably get back on and talk?
Yeah, you just gotta let me know.
All right, we'll talk about it after the podcast is over. But all right, guys, I'm sorry we didn't really get to a lot of these topics, but like this is basically what I told you. Me and Josh will talk about something that will like there's moments where we'll talk about something that should only last for 5 minutes and we'll turn it into like a 3-hour conversation.
Oh my gosh.
But all right. So like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I made him watch Malignant and he made me watch Batman. So which one do you want to talk about first?
Might as well start with Malignant since I have it in my head.
All right. I'll say how I feel. I'll just say how I feel real quick. Malignant, I actually like the movie, but I already told Josh, I don't know whether I like it because it's like, do I find it as a genuinely good horror movie? Because like the movie isn't like bad per se. Like on a filmmaking standpoint, you really can't say it's bad, but there's also a lot of laughable moments in that movie that I can't take serious. So I'm like, do I like it because it's more goofier than most horror movies, or do I genuinely like it as a horror movie? But overall, I do like it. And it's partly because I like the director, James Wan. He made a lot of great horror movies. Actually, he made the horror movie that makes me not scared of horror movies anymore. Like I can't be scared because of Insidious anymore. So yeah, like I don't know, man. It's been months since I seen that movie and I'm still trying to figure out, do I like it for really what it is, or do I like it because it's just so goofy?
Oh my gosh.
But
well, I'll tell you this. I'm not a big fan of horror movies because my whole thing is I never understood the point of horror because I get kind of bored because for me, horror feels meaningless because it feels like there's less of a story where it's like, it's more of like a situation. Like, oh, you're in this situation and then and then mess happens to that person, and then it either ends in one or two ways. They killed that thing that's scaring the mess out of them, or
Mhm.
they get killed. So when I went into this, I was dreading watching this movie because I was like, I don't like horror movies, so here we go. I thought this movie was ridiculous. I could not take it seriously. Because first, it started off in like the first 5 minutes when the husband is like talking to her about her like pregnancy. I'm like, darn, what's his problem? Why he being this way? And then he slammed her head into the thing. I'm like, darn. Yeah. He was like, you need some ice? I'm like, she bleeding. You need more than ice. And then after that, I know they were trying to drop hints of her bleeding. All I thought was,
Mhm.
darn, she went to the hospital and they still never looked back there to patch it up. She just walking around with an open wound. I didn't realize that it was like because they removed or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, this is okay. And I was looking into the story, and I pretty much guessed it, but like before it finished or got to that part, because I was like, so it's either imaginary friend or a brother, like a twin that died or something. And then it turned out being both. And
Yeah.
I was like, how's that possible? What?
But see, that's why the movie is so ridiculous because like the scene where they first showed that her brother was like attached to her, I was like, what the hell?
Tevin, you're
I can't even take this serious. No, no, Josh. You want to know I never heard anybody say this about the movie. You want to know the first part that made me laugh throughout the whole movie? It was the brother's voice and it was threatening the doctor. Like, doctor, Weaver, I'm gonna kill you. Like, I couldn't take it serious.
I couldn't take it serious when I realized I still can't take it serious. I couldn't
What?
take it serious when I realized that the thing chasing them and killing them is just a backwards body with weird
No,
hands.
that's why I always died when it was that's why I was dying
It's
whenever it was running because it's like running
like
backwards always.
it's like I was like, darn.
No, the fight scene in the police station. The fight scene in the police station where you see it like flipping over table, throwing people, stabbing
Oh my
people, and you just see the woman's head on the back.
god. Yeah, it's just like the thing that got me is like when it would break people's arms, because his arm was like that, it'd be like, I'm like, darn, how did that work? But you ever see Harry Potter, like the first Harry, or like Chamber of Secrets?
It was a long time ago, so I really don't remember much.
Well, it made me think of Harry Potter because or it wasn't Chamber of Secrets, it was Sorcerer's Stone. In that, Voldemort is on the back of that guy's head. So all I was thinking about
Oh
was
my god.
Lord Voldemort, because that's kind of how he looked too. All I was thinking of him being like, "Show me him." I was like, "All right."
So ultimately you didn't like the movie?
No, I thought it
See,
was.
now I showed Josh this movie not because I thought 100% he was gonna like it, but just because I wanted to see how he felt about it, since it is very different from a lot of horror movies.
Yeah, it was.
And that's the thing I noticed with Malignant. Like, you either hate or you either love this movie. Like, a lot of people like it because it tries to be different, and that it feels like they always say it feels like campy, like 80s and 90s horror movies like back in the day. But then other people is like, this is too goofy and too weird for me to like enjoy. But
But
I okay. When you said that you don't like horror movies because of story and like you need to have a story and stuff like that, you sound like people when I talk about comedy.
well, see, I feel like it's different because
But I see horror and comedy as very similar genres.
yeah, it's just for me, it feels different just because with comedy, you can still focus on a character. With horror, it's more about like setting up a scary situation. Because in horror, you're supposed to scare the people watching. So you care less about the characters and like a deep character study because I love like that's why Winter
Josh,
Soldier was my top movie.
I'm gonna tell you now, you just been watching some of the wrong horror movies.
Oh
Because
well,
if you do,
Malignant
okay,
that
now that one I did more for a joke. That one I did more for a joke. But like, if you do want genuinely like good character driven horror movies, I actually know some I can recommend to you. The
oh
Babadook is definitely one.
okay, I might. It's just because I think like comedies can have character. Like you look at like even some of the stupid like the Water Boy. The Water Boy it focuses on character. It's a whole good character story.
Mm. Well, okay, let's get to the Batman because we only have like 20 minutes left.
Okay.
So you want to say how you felt about it first before I do?
Well, see, I'm glad I didn't have to include DC movies and like the Marvel stuff and everything because this is like one of my favorite movies of all time. Just because,
Okay.
yeah, it might not be over Star Wars, but it's one of my top movies.
I mean, obviously, Star Wars is on your wall.
But
Which you know, all that time I thought that was Michael's poster when you had that at Mason.
no,
Wait,
did I
did you
bring
have that at
this?
Mason?
No, I didn't bring this one.
I don't know why. I could have swore y'all had a Star Wars poster on your wall.
Maybe I had it like arrow posters and stuff.
Okay.
I might have
Yeah.
brought this to Mason and then brought this back. I don't know.
Maybe like freshman year, you probably only had that.
But I will say the Batman is one of my top movies of all time, just because the atmosphere is good. It feels like I've read some Batman comics and watched the animated shows and all that. I'm a big Batman fan. He's one of my favorite heroes. And
Mhm.
this, I played the Arkham games. This felt like Batman. Like I will say I like some other Batman movies like Dark Knight and all that, but this is over it because those movies focus on like the villain's the best part.
Mhm.
Batman is never the best part. In this movie, Batman's the best part of the movie. And it doesn't feel like he's trying, it doesn't feel like Robert Pattinson is trying to play Batman. It feels like he is Batman. And that's what I loved about this movie. Like it was just, and there was some like it was subtly funny. It had like little horror aspects where it would show like him focusing on fear and stuff. It had touching moments. Like it had a little bit of everything. And just like in that movie, you could just be sitting there and in my theater, you didn't hear a peep. Everybody was so invested, every beat. And
Mhm.
I loved it.
All right. So with me, I just want to say, I mean, like I already said during the Marvel part, I'm not really much of a comic book fan, nor did I really like a lot of superhero cartoons back in the day, especially DC. Like DC, I was more into Marvel stuff than DC. I think the only DC thing I was really into was Teen Titans and technically Ben 10 because people don't acknowledge that that's technically DC. But yeah, so I'm just saying that to say, now I did like the Arkham games, like the little bit that I played and like the little bit I watched on YouTube. I like the Arkham games. But I say all this to say that, you know, I was never really much of a Batman fan. Like, I actually dislike Superman, but Batman, like, I had respect for Batman because, he had hands, he had women, he had the money. Like,
Oh my
I thought Batman was a decent hero, but I never really cared for him like that. Even when I watched like the original Christopher Nolan movies, Batman Begins, didn't really care that much. Dark Knight, I mostly like Heath Ledger's Joker, RIP to him, but I mostly like Joker in that movie. That was the main reason I liked it. And then the third movie, I mean, I really mostly like Bane. So like what Josh said, I really walked away from the movies, really remembering more of the villains than anything else. But now while this movie isn't like an 8 out of 10 for me or anything like that because I don't feel that much of a connection to Batman or anything like that. Also, this was more of like a film noir like type of movie, and I'm not really like a fan of that. But overall, I would give this movie like a 7 out of 10 just because Robert Pattinson, like you said, really is Batman. Like this is the first time I walked away from a Batman movie caring about him way more than the
Mhm.
villain. And he was actually the most interesting part. But what I told Josh before is that what I really liked about this movie opposed to the other ones was I don't know why this movie felt more like real, more raw than like other Batman movies, especially with fight scenes. Because he told me going into this that it feels very much like the Arkham games, and I felt like the fight scenes in this movie was very inspired by the Arkham games. Like there's parts where like, typical action movies, loud music, camera shaking, all of that. In this
Mhm.
movie, like, no, you're just really focusing on how much Batman is beating the shit out of these people. Like I feel like I can hear bones cracking, teeth falling out of mouth. Like, yo, Batman was going in this movie. And not to mention, speaking of villains, and I know this might be an unpopular opinion because, everybody loves the Joker, but I actually felt really intimidated by the Riddler. Like, I never really cared about the Riddler as a Batman villain, but in this movie, this dude was like intimidating as hell. And I think the real part where I felt like real fear for this person was especially the church scene. Like
Yeah.
when they had the viewing, wasn't that for like a cop that they were having a viewing for or
Yeah.
something? Yeah,
A
and
cop
then
he killed.
out of nowhere like a car comes in, everybody got their guns drawn, the guy comes out and he has like a whole bomb strapped around his neck, and like Batman is trying to solve the riddle, and the whole mystery of who's the person they're trying to protect. Like that was interesting because this guy really gave up his whole life, like just not to solve the riddle. Like, oh, I don't want to reveal that information, and this guy died for it. Like this movie, I don't know, like it felt a lot more intense. I felt more stakes in this movie than
Yeah.
other Batman stories.
And
And oh, what were we about to say?
I was going to say the thing I loved about it was dark, but it didn't need to use like over like big violence or
Oh
like
yeah,
not
that's
like blood or like killing to do it.
and that's another thing that I really liked about this movie because for the past few years there's been a discourse with like superhero movies and stuff like that. Like, oh, we need our ratings for it to be dark. We need to show gore. We need to show violence. This is one of those movies where it really is dark as hell. And it didn't need
Yeah.
to do all that. And I hate talking to people about that. Like, oh, we need violence in this movie. But I always say, does the violence really push the story? Like for superhero movies, I don't really feel like it's necessary, and this is one of those movies that kind of show like you really don't need violence to make a movie darker. I feel like this movie was darker more through its themes and more through the stakes.
I feel that.
So yeah, 7 out of 10. um I will say like the only gripe that I had for it for real was I felt like it was a little long. Like I feel like there were some things they could have cut out a little bit, but for the most part, as someone that's not really much of a Batman fan, I enjoyed it. And I wouldn't mind actually seeing the next Batman movie in theaters. Like this one doesn't make me like a huge Batman fan, but it does have me interested in seeing where Robert Pattinson's Batman is gonna go.
Yeah.
If HBO and Warner isn't messing with his property, because I really hope they don't.
I don't think they will.
Yeah, that movie was too big for them.
Because I
But
think the only reason they got rid of Batgirl was because they knew it wasn't going to be good.
really, I seen
Yeah.
a lot of people crying about it online because they were saying like they saw a lot of potential in it.
No, see, I read why they actually, because they announced why they did it. They
Mhm.
had test screenings for it, and the test screenings, everybody said it was really bad and
Oh,
stuff like that. Like the best review of it was someone said it's not that bad, it's okay. That was the best.
oh my
and
god,
and they said they were not going to release something if they didn't believe in it because they weren't going to
that's
release it in
understandable.
theaters, so they weren't going to make no money off of it because they were just put it on HBO, and some that costs 90 million to make. If you're making not you're paying 90 million for something that's not that good and not going to be in theaters, that's
Yeah.
They
Okay,
didn't want.
when you put it like that, that's understandable why they're not doing that.
But they're going. Batman almost made them $1 billion, so they're going to keep going with Batman.
Two things we know for sure they're not ending: Batman and Joker. They're
Yeah,
definitely not ending those two. Which I
Joker
guess
made $1 billion.
I guess I need to watch Joker now that they're announcing sequels and whatever. I mean, I'm not really looking forward to it too much just because I can't stand this new wave of movies where like they try to make the villains sympathetic. Because then it's like
Yeah,
when you do eventually make them go up against the heroes, why would we care about the heroes then?
yeah.
Or I don't know if that's what are they planning on doing that with this
No,
Joker?
I think this Joker's in its own universe.
So there's no Batman. There's not gonna be a villain a movie in the future where he's fighting Batman.
I don't know. They might, because they already have a Joker and the Batman, so they might just keep it separate.
Okay. Well, not that Batman, but like,
Yeah,
maybe like
yeah,
he has his like, I don't know. I feel like if that's eventually what they do, they're probably gonna ruin it for themselves because then we also have to feel more sympathetic for the hero
yeah.
if we want the villain to lose. But Joker is a mental health icon. So I don't know how
Yeah.
much people is really gonna rock with him losing a fight.
We'll see.
But all right, man.
Mm.
Guys, we didn't get to all our topics because we be talking a lot, but um I'll talk to Josh about I'm sitting here saying it like he's not here, but I'll talk to Josh about probably meeting up so we could talk about the rest of our topics and maybe even more. But I can clearly see with this video, like we need to go in with less topics. I can
Oh
clearly
boy.
see that. But yeah, like I said, I mean, you guys heard us talk about it briefly. We might, link back up again this week and try to continue the rest of the topics. But overall, I say this was a good first episode with a guest. Josh, thank you for being my first guest.
Of course, anytime.
We man, you guys basically just got a glimpse into like what our phone calls is like because literally this is what it's like. We'll just go on and on
Hours.
about shit. Shoot, you want to know how bad planning this episode was? I called Josh, just to talk about cutting and keeping topics because we had a lot of topics at first. That call probably should have took like 10, 15 minutes. We wound up on the phone for like an hour and a half. I'm like, damn, we stayed on the phone for a whole movie for something that should
Yeah.
only take 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh. And
But
we kept going, whoa, we gotta save that. We gotta save that for the podcast.
right, like every 5 minutes. Wait, we gotta save it. We gotta save this. And then and now here we are. We didn't even get to most of what we were talking about. But yeah. So Josh, is there anything like you want to plug? You know what they mean when they say plug?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything you want to plug? Anybody you want to shout out? What do you want to say?
Not really. Just everybody have a good life. Stay chill. Stay peaceful. Peace out.
All right. So guys, thank you for watching or listening to another episode of the Hate It or Love It podcast.
Like, comment, subscribe.
If you're
Remember
on
that.
YouTube, if you're on streaming services, follow the podcast. And once again, Josh, thank you for being the first guest. We definitely got to make a part 2 because we didn't touch on everything. And yeah, with all that being said, Tevin Jameer signing out.